If you have stage 3 chronic kidney disease, your breakfast could be helping protect your kidneys or quietly making kidney disease worse. The surprising part? Some foods that people think are healthy may not be the best choice for everyone with CKD. But don't worry, in this video, I'm going to show you 7 delicious kidney-friendly breakfasts, explain why they're good for your kidneys, and most importantly, tell you what to watch out for so you can make the best choices for your own kidney health. Let's start with breakfast number 1, oatmeal with blueberries. Oatmeal can be an excellent breakfast for many people with stage 3 CKD because it provides soluble fiber, which can support heart health and help you feel full without adding a large amount of animal protein. Add a small handful of blueberries for natural sweetness and antioxidants, and cinnamon for flavor without extra salt. But here's what to watch for. Not all oatmeal is the same. Flavored instant oatmeal packets can contain a surprising amount of added sugar and sodium, so plain oats are usually the better starting point. And be careful with what you add. Large amounts of milk, nuts, seeds, or dried fruit can increase phosphorus or potassium, something that may matter if your blood levels are elevated. For many people with stage 3 CKD, potassium and phosphorus do not automatically need to be restricted just because they have kidney disease. Your blood tests should help guide those decisions, so keep it simple. Plain oatmeal, fresh berries, cinnamon, and toppings chosen according to your individual needs. Breakfast number 2 is eggs with whole grain toast. And this brings up a question I hear all the time. If you have stage 3 CKD, should you avoid eggs because they're animal protein? For most people, eggs don't automatically have to come off the menu. Eggs provide high quality protein, but with CKD, the amount matters. Eating more protein than your body needs may increase the workload on the kidneys, so the goal usually isn't a high protein breakfast every morning. For many adults with stage 3 CKD, one egg as part of a balanced breakfast can be a reasonable option. You can also use one whole egg with extra egg whites when you want more protein, because egg whites provide high quality protein with much less phosphorus than the yolk. And what you eat with your eggs matters just as much. Choose whole grain toast when it fits your individual potassium and phosphorus needs, and skip the bacon, sausage, and heavily salted breakfast meats. Those processed meats can add a lot of sodium and may contain phosphorus additives. One more tip. Check the ingredient list on breads and processed foods for ingredients containing the letters PHOS. Added phosphorus is absorbed much more readily than naturally occurring phosphorus in many whole foods. So instead of a plate piled with eggs, bacon, sausage, and salty hash browns, keep it simple. A sensible portion of egg, whole grain toast, and some fresh berries. And remember, your ideal protein intake depends on your kidney function, body size, nutrition status, diabetes, and advice from your healthcare team. Breakfast number 3 is Greek yogurt with fresh berries. It looks like a perfect healthy breakfast. And for many people with stage 3 CKD, it can be. But this is one breakfast where the nutrition label really matters. Greek yogurt provides calcium and high quality protein, and adding fresh blueberries or strawberries gives you natural sweetness and fiber without needing a lot of added sugar. But there are 2 things I want you to check before putting yogurt in your shopping cart. First, look at the added sugar. Some flavored yogurts contain a surprising amount, which is especially important if you have diabetes or are trying to keep your blood sugar under control. Plain, unsweetened yogurt gives you much more control. You can add fresh berries or a little cinnamon for flavor. Second, yogurt naturally contains phosphorus and potassium. That doesn't mean everyone with stage 3 CKD needs to avoid it. But if your potassium or phosphorus is elevated, the type of yogurt and portion size may need to be adjusted. Also check the ingredient list for added phosphate ingredients, the same phos words we just talked about. And here's another detail that's easy to miss. Greek yogurt is usually higher in protein than regular yogurt. That's not automatically bad, but if your healthcare team has recommended a moderate protein diet, the portion still matters. So the simple version is, choose a reasonable portion of plain, unsweetened yogurt, add fresh berries, and check the label for added sugar and phosphate additives. Then make sure it fits your own potassium, phosphorus, and protein needs. Breakfast number 4 is peanut butter toast. And if you have stage 3 CKD, you may have heard that peanut butter is something you should avoid because it contains potassium and phosphorus. But for many people, it doesn't have to be completely off the menu. Peanut butter provides plant-based protein, healthy unsaturated fats, and some fiber. and replacing processed breakfast meats with more plant-based foods can be a heart-healthy choice, which matters because kidney disease and heart health are closely connected. But here's where portion size becomes important. Peanut butter is concentrated, so several large spoonfuls can quickly add more protein, potassium, phosphorus, and calories than you may realize. A measured portion, rather than spreading on as much as you want, can make a big difference. And don't assume every jar of peanut butter is the same. Some products contain added salt, added sugar, or other ingredients. Look for a peanut butter with peanuts as the main ingredient, preferably with little or no added salt and minimal added sugar. Now, what about phosphorus? Nuts and peanut butter naturally contain phosphorus, but phosphorus from plant foods is generally absorbed less efficiently than phosphorus from phosphate additives. So don't automatically eliminate peanut butter just because you see phosphorus on a nutrition chart. Your overall diet, portion size, and blood phosphorus level matter. Potassium is similar. If your blood potassium is normal and you haven't been told to restrict potassium, you may not need to avoid peanut butter simply because you have stage 3 CKD. But if your potassium runs high, your portion and food choices may need to change. So a simple breakfast could be a measured serving of peanut butter on toast that fits your individual kidney diet. Check the sodium and added sugar, watch the portion, and let your potassium and phosphorus results help guide you. Breakfast number 5 is a smoothie. And this is where a breakfast that looks incredibly healthy can become surprisingly tricky for someone with stage 3 CKD. A smoothie can be a convenient way to add fruit and other nutritious foods to breakfast. But remember, everything you put into that blender ends up in one glass. A banana, avocado, orange juice, milk, yogurt, and several handfuls of fruit may all sound healthy individually, but combining several potassium-rich ingredients can create a much higher potassium drink. That doesn't mean everyone with stage 3 CKD needs a low potassium smoothie. If your blood potassium is normal and your healthcare team hasn't told you to restrict potassium, you may have more flexibility. The important point is to build the smoothie around your own lab results rather than automatically avoiding healthy foods. A simpler option might start with berries, such as blueberries or strawberries, and a liquid that fits your kidney diet. Keep the portion reasonable and be careful with packaged plant milks. Some contain added phosphate ingredients, and potassium can vary considerably between products. So check the label and ingredient list. And here's another trap: added sugar. Sweetened yogurt, sweetened plant milk, juice, honey, or flavored protein powders can turn a smoothie into a much higher sugar breakfast very quickly. That's particularly important if you have diabetes or elevated blood sugar. Protein powders deserve special attention too. More protein is not automatically better for stage 3 CKD. Some powders can add a large amount of protein along with potassium, phosphorus, sodium, or phosphate additives. If you've been advised to moderate your protein intake, don't add a protein powder just because the package calls it healthy. So keep your smoothie simple. Choose ingredients that fit your potassium and phosphorus needs. Minimize added sugar. Check packaged ingredients for phosphate additives, and don't overload the blender. Breakfast number 6 is a whole grain muffin. Muffins are convenient, portable, and can certainly fit into breakfast. But this is one food where the word healthy on the package doesn't always tell you the whole story. A better starting point is a muffin made primarily with whole grains, such as whole wheat flour. Whole grains can provide fiber, but muffins can vary tremendously in their nutrition depending on how they're made. Some oversized bakery muffins can contain a surprising amount of added sugar, sodium, and calories. And ingredients such as chocolate chips, large amounts of nuts or seeds, or certain packaged additives can also change the potassium and phosphorus content. So instead of judging a muffin simply by its appearance, check the nutrition facts label. Compare the serving size, sodium, and added sugar, and then look at the ingredient list. A whole grain, such as whole wheat flour, near the beginning of the list is a useful sign, and for packaged muffins you can also look for ingredients containing phos, which may indicate added phosphates. And now we've reached breakfast number 7, a whole wheat breakfast wrap. This may be the most customizable breakfast on our list because you get to decide exactly what goes inside. Start with a whole wheat tortilla, but remember that the words on the front of the package don't tell you everything. Tortillas can vary considerably in sodium, so compare nutrition facts labels between brands and look for whole wheat flour near the beginning of the ingredient list. Then comes the part that really determines whether this becomes a better kidney-conscious breakfast: the filling. A simple option might include one egg, some egg whites if appropriate for your protein needs, and vegetables such as bell peppers, onions, or cabbage. This gives you a combination of whole grains, vegetables, and a controlled amount of protein. But add several eggs, bacon, sausage, processed cheese, and salty sauces, and that same tortilla becomes a very different breakfast. Sodium, saturated fat, and protein can climb quickly, and some processed meats and cheeses may contain phosphate additives. And just like the other breakfasts we've discussed, your individual needs matter. Your potassium and phosphorus levels, blood pressure, diabetes, medications, and overall kidney diet can all affect which ingredients and portions are appropriate for you. So keep your breakfast wrap simple. Choose a whole grain tortilla, use a reasonable amount of protein, add vegetables that fit your needs, and limit processed meats, excess cheese, and salty sauces. And that's all 7. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's this: Stage 3 CKD doesn't require one perfect breakfast. The better choice is the breakfast that fits your own needs, and small changes in ingredients and portions can make a big difference. Which of these 7 would you actually eat tomorrow morning? Tell me in the comments, and subscribe to Kidney Health Explained for more practical CKD guidance.